What's going on, people? How are you feeling? Nick Cicada here, back with another banger video for you. A lot of people ask me, hey Nick, you're a mail order cartoonist, right? That's your entire life. So how exactly do you go about when an envelope is returned to you? This is one such case. I've covered up the address with the Return to Sender sticker here, because here at Nicholas Comics, we value your privacy as a consumer. But this is a very pertinent example. If this video is popular, I might do more videos like this in the future about methods and little tricks that I do as a mail order cartoonist, both to save money and to give you the optimal, most efficient comic experience possible. So as you can see here, this envelope was returned to me with the dreaded Return to Sender, not deliverable, as addressed, unable to forward sticker. Now usually what this means is I've sent the envelope with someone's online alias. A lot of my generation can be very annoying about giving me their real names, which, you know, I get, but it's just very annoying because sometimes the United States Postal Service won't deliver an envelope if it's addressed to, like, Big Bad Dragon 533 or whatever your online handle is. A pro tip to you, the consumer, you know, when you send in for comics, just give me your real name. Like I say, you know, I never share this information with anyone. But here we have the dreaded Return to Sender, not deliverable as addressed sticker. And for whatever reason, on the way back to me, this envelope got this weird little tear in it. I'm not sure what that's about, but thankfully the catalog that was inside was not damaged. So this catalog can still be put into another envelope, and even better, if you look up here, these stamps are not marked, which means they can be used again, which is really cool. I'm not sure exactly why this happened, whether they don't mark them when they return to sender on a manila envelope as opposed to a normal envelope, because every time I get returned to sender in a normal white type envelope, the little kind, these stamps always are marked, but these stamps distinctly are not marked, so they are reusable. So today I'm going to show you how you can reuse stamps by steaming them off with some hot water. This is a pretty basic technique. You've probably seen guides for it other places, but I'm going to give you the most comprehensive possible lowdown. I'm going to let you follow me step by step through the process as we go along. So let's get started. The first step, of course, is to get the whatever it is, whether that's comics, catalog, letter, whatever, out of the envelope. I'm not going to reuse this envelope because it's already got the address with it's incorrect on it. So we're just going to totally take this out, rip it out, just like a present. There we go. Bop, bop. And there is the copy of the Nicholas Comics catalog waiting inside. Perfect. Oh, I won't mention what that's about, but the Nicholas Comics catalog. You get the idea. This is what was meant to be sent but was returned. Now, next step, we're going to go up to this corner here and we're going to rip these stamps off so that it's just the part with these two little stamps. Perfect. Now we've just got this little isolated area with these two stamps and we're going to start in steaming. So let's get to that. Alright, we've got some water boiling here. It's getting ready. You don't need a lot of water. This is actually my smallest pan here. Just about enough for a cup of tea. In fact, you can make a cup of tea with this method and peel stamps off. You can do both at the same time. Point is, just be very careful around fire. Have it be about that size of flame. It shouldn't be climbing up the sides. There we go. Nice and low. A nice slow boil. And give it about 5 minutes. And while you're doing that, you can take this piece of the envelope, just kind of tear it open so that there's a part you can hold on to in addition to the part with the stamps on it, so that you'll be safe while you're steaming the stamps off. But this water isn't ready yet, so we're going to give it about 5 minutes. This isn't a huge amount of water at all, like I say, just enough to produce a viable amount of water vapor to rise off. If you have a tea kettle, this method works even better because then the steam is directed as opposed to just rising aimlessly over this big pan, but I don't have a tea kettle, so we're going to make do with just this amount of water. So let's let it boil. Alright, I'm back out in the hallway here, and as you can see, I have readdressed this envelope, this brand new envelope here, with the universally applicable current resident. This will work as the name of your addressee, even if you have no idea what their name is. Whatever's in the envelope should reasonably get to them. I've never had current resident returned to me, and sometimes you might have to go through this process even if you're given a completely realistic sounding name. Someone says, my name is Johnny Spooky, and you think, wow, that sounds like a real name, but it turns out just an alias, not real at all. So on the upper left, like usual, the return address. I like to do my return address in nice pen, and then the main address in Sharpie, although I don't have Sharpie right now. I don't have a fresh Sharpie, so I'm using my Staedtler watercolor pen. Looks the same, indistinguishable from a Sharpie. I like to do it so that the flap is on the right here, but you can also, I suppose, technically address one of these manila envelopes so that the flap is on the left. That just feels kind of upside down to me for whatever reason, so I like to do it with the flap on the right. You will address current resident, then the address, the exact same address under here. It's very inconvenient, but hey, that's what happens when I'm not given a real name to send something to. Current resident works fine, though. It's just I don't prefer to put current resident right off the bat because, you know, people like to see their name on a piece of mail so they know it's theirs in case they're in an apartment complex or whatever. Anyway, this is how the new envelope will be formatted. So let's go check the tea and see how that's going. So as you can see here, the steam is starting to rise up a little. There are little bubbles forming down there. And like I say, while I'm at it, why not just brew a nice good cup of tea? I'm brewing the Stash Decaf English Breakfast Tea because it's the only tea I seem to have lying around. I'm not a particular big fan of it, but hey, you know, it's drinkable, it's yummy. Since it's not to a full-on rolling boil yet, and it's just getting some brew, you can see the steam rising up there. It's flying into the camera lens, making everything cloudy. I'm not going to burn the camera, at least not trying to. We're going to take the stamps, we're going to hold it by this part, and we're going to hold the stamps right over the water for about 5 minutes until they just kind of loosen up, because that adhesive on the back of the stamps is designed to hold. It's very good, effective adhesive. The USPS knows how to make an effective adhesive, so we're just going to let it sit right over here. It can be strenuous to hold a piece of paper over a burning substance for this long, but just do it for about 5 minutes, and after that point, enough steam should have risen up to loose the stamp. The water's getting nice and brown there. A nice tea. Some sugar, some lemon, you know, whatever you like. These are the two things we fought American independence for: stamps and tea. They're very worthwhile things to reject tyranny on the basis of. Alright, just hold it there 5 minutes or so, and then I'll guide you through what we do next. So the steam has risen enough so that you can pull the corners of the stamps up a little bit and let the steam really seep into those parts and just really, get nice and loose. This isn't like a Band-Aid. You don't pull it off all at once, or you will rip some of the envelope off in the process or rip the stamp, which you don't want to do. So be nice and slow and careful. Let that tea brew. Just really hold it there. It can be a gradual, methodic process. You want to be very careful with these stamps because, you know, they're 78 cents each, and why waste 78 cents when you can just reuse these totally unmarked great stamps, right? Yeah. Alright, back out in the hallway. Got a nice cup of tea here. Nice and relaxing. A nice sip there. English breakfast tea. And here we have the two stamps freed from their prison on the terrible unaddressable envelope. As you can see here, I've affixed them to the Return to Sender label. You just want to kind of have some kind of backing, a scrap of paper handy to catch them on, so if they fall off, they don't fall off into the water, or even worse, into the fire and get totally burnt up. So you want to have something ready to go that you can stick them on easy. Here's the Return to Sender label. Fun fact, a Return to Sender label will always have Nixie right on the top left there. That's what Return to Sender envelopes are called. They're called nixies. That's a cute little terminology there. You have the two stamps here. But what you'll notice is the adhesive has been super weakened. These can barely even stick to anything anymore. And they're all curly and they look wrong. So what do we have to address this issue? We have the Scotch non-stick wrinkle-free glue stick 3M. This is the best glue stick ever. The only glue stick I use. If I have the choice, I go for Scotch wrinkle-free glue sticks. These are freaking awesome. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace the original stamp adhesive with this glue stick, and nobody will be the wiser. The mailman will not suspect a thing. Honestly, I'm not sure why these weren't marked, but since they're not marked, you can reuse them. There is actually no way, at least as far as I know, to remove the mark from a stamp, which is the way of telling that it's already been through the ringer. But that is illegal. It's illegal to remove the mark from a stamp, and there isn't even any way to do it. So don't try it. Don't try and cheat the USPS out of their 78 cents. Really, it's a crime. Don't do it. Not encouraged here on the Nick Show. And there we have it. Two stamps affixed to the new current resident envelope, brand new envelope, nice and fresh, with the Scotch wrinkle-free glue stick. And you could barely tell that these have already been to another state and back. They look like brand new freaking stamps, and for all intents and purposes, they are. And there's no reason you can't reuse them if they're not marked. That's totally fine. And you're just, saving some cents and making use of stamps. So once the stamps are affixed, we just pop the catalog into the brand new envelope, and there it is, ready to go one more time across the country. And if this second time with the current resident doesn't work, then I just ask the person politely to give me their real goddamn name already, so we can just get this whole song and dance over with, and they can get what they're supposed to get in the mail. But I'm pretty sure this will work, and there's no reason why it shouldn't. So we just seal this up, and then it's good to go and ready to take down to the mailbox. So, yeah, this is a totally cool mail order trade trick that I do all the time, happens all the time in my line of work. Sharing it with you here, it's very interesting, and hopefully you learned something, both about how to detach and reaffix stamps, and to brew a delicious cup of tea in the process. I like mine with about 2 pinches of sugar. So yeah. Well, that's it for this edition of Tricks of the Trade, the mail order show, where I go into all the interesting methods I use as a mail order cartoonist. I might do some more of these. I might make it a series if there are enough scenarios to cover. Recently I've just been getting a deluge of orders, so lots of instances where I can talk about something. But I think this is a pretty good little starter course for you if you're looking to get into the mail order trade yourself. And check out what the world of mail has to offer, because it's damn interesting. Anyway, that's all for today. Catch you on the flip side. Sporsh, Nick out, all that jazz. Sayonara, suckers.
Made of chocolate, just make sure you load it.